At age 40, life starts. You are just doing study right now. You may feel like these Carl Jung words go against everything you've learned. Society praises youth and puts a lot of value on what you do in your 20s and 30s. People tell you that these are the best years of your life, the time to build your job, your relationships, and everything else that makes you successful. But have you ever stopped and thought, is this really all there is?
When you get close to 40, things change. At first, it's just a whisper in the back of your mind, but there's a change. You begin to question whether the goals you've been chasing are really yours. Jung's view disagrees with this story, saying that everything you've done so far, your battles, your successes, and even your failures was just practice. But getting ready for what? If this hits home for you, you're not alone, and Jung may have been onto something important. The first few decades of your life can feel like a never-ending race. You are always growing, learning, and changing from the time you are a child until you are a young adult. The stage Jung called research is when you build your identity, the mask you use to deal with the complicated world. This image helps you fit in, be successful, and live up to what people expect of you. But it's important to remember that it's only a mask. It doesn't show who you really are. During these years, even though it often makes you think otherwise, you're learning new things. However, a lot of this time is spent meeting the needs of others, leaving little time to discover who you really are. You've probably spent a lot of time shaping this outward personality based on what parents, teachers, and society think is important. These outside forces can change your career path, your social role, and even how you handle your personal relationships. On the other hand, you might feel a quiet unease, like you're living your life according to a plot that someone else wrote. This is not a sign of failure. It's a normal reaction to how the world values success and how you look. For many, this disconnect doesn't show up for years and only comes to the surface when the weight of demands gets too much. While these early years are important for learning how to live, they rarely give you the greater satisfaction you naturally seek. This is why a lot of people, even those who seem to have everything, start to feel a strange sadness. It's not that the things you did and accomplished as a young person were pointless, rather they helped you figure out what doesn't really make you happy. Even though the character you've created is useful, it starts to feel limiting, like a garment that doesn't fit right. Questions about meaning and identity become louder as you get closer to midlife. This is the start of a journey that will change you. More people are becoming aware of this problem, which is the start of something much bigger and more important. It sets the stage for big changes that are coming. When you turn 40, you may feel like you're at a crossroads. The life you've worked so hard to build may start to feel strange or even limiting. The identity that used to guide you, the persona you've depended on to get around, may not hit you as hard as it used to. Jung didn't see this stage as a crisis, but as an awakening, a one-of-a-kind chance to go beyond what society expects of you and find your true self. Priorities start to change slowly. What used to be important, like external achievements and signs of success, are becoming less important as people seek deeper meaning and personal fulfillment. At this point in your life, you may start to think about your values and real purpose, which may make you want to take a look back at the life you've lived so far. Neurological study shows that around midlife, the brain changes in ways that make it easier to control emotions and become more self-aware. These changes make you think about things more and respond less, which gives you a bigger picture to look at problems from. There may be times when goals that seemed impossible to change can now be seen in a new light. Jung thought that this internal recalibration gives you a chance to get your life back in line with who you really are. Moments of restlessness and unhappiness often mean that something needs to change, even if it feels unsettling at first. Jung saw these emotions as a call to take off the masks you're wearing and live a more authentic life. This process doesn't mean giving up the life you've built, it just means rethinking what fits with the person you've become. Even though the change can be hard, it's also the start of a more fulfilling and purpose-driven phase that is more in line with your true self. The idea of the shadow is one of the most important parts of Jung's theory. The things you've kept hidden about yourself, like your fears, wants, and weaknesses. When you were younger, avoiding these things might have seemed like the best way to get ahead, but now that you're 40, the shadow wants your attention. It's not easy to face the shadow because it means facing facts you've been avoiding, like unfulfilled dreams or old habits that aren't helping you. That being said, this conflict is necessary for growth. When you face these secret parts of yourself, you find freedom. You start to understand that your flaws and mistakes are not obstacles, but rather steps on the way to becoming whole. Think for a moment, what parts of yourself have you ignored? It could be a love of art, a need for deep connections, or a wish to live a more genuine life. As you think about these questions, you start to let go of the persona's restrictions and embrace a more honest and fully satisfying life. Jung's main goal in life is individuation, or the trip toward bringing together all of your parts, the conscious, the unconscious, the light, and the shadow. It often starts in middle age, getting in touch with your inner self and getting rid of things that don't help you anymore are part of this process. It doesn't mean giving up everything you've worked for. It means rethinking your ideals and priorities. Ask yourself if the goals you're working toward are really yours or just a holdover from what society expects of you. You might decide to let go of bad relationships, pursue a long-lost interest, or just make more time for the things that truly make you happy after this reflection. You stop living for other people and start living for yourself. When you individuate, being honest is what it's all about, not being selfish. You can make your life feel important and complete by making sure your actions are in line with your true values. It's rare for growth to happen without pain, especially around adulthood. For the changes that happen at this stage, you may have to face long-held fears, step into the unknown, and let go of old habits. Jung thought that midlife was a special time to change, not only how you live, but also who you are. This change won't happen all at once. It's a process that will take time and guts. At times, it may feel like tearing your life apart from the inside out. Yet, it's when things are taken apart that real growth happens. Every time you face a fear or let go of an old idea, it brings you closer to being more like yourself. Think about the stories of people who have changed during midlife, whether they were looking for a new job, getting back into art, or making their relationships stronger. One thing they all have in common is a readiness to face the pain of change. Change doesn't always have to be big. Sometimes it's the small changes like refocusing on personal values, having an honest talk, or giving time to a passion you've put on hold that lead to big growth. When you accept these changes, you start to see that what at first seemed like loss or sacrifice is actually a chance to start over with purpose and clarity. It's okay to take small steps like thinking about your goals, figuring out what makes you happy, and letting yourself feel sensitive. Jung said that the way to growth isn't always easy, but in the end it leads to a life that feels not just lived, but fully living. Transformation is not about changing into a different person. It's about finding and becoming the person you were always meant to be, making a life that is in line with your true truth. You're not at the end of the road when you turn 40, you're at the start of a new one. The years to come could bring more happiness and authenticity than ever before. You can live a life that shows your real self by accepting your shadow, rethinking your priorities, and being open to change. It's not about being perfect, it's about being whole. Realizing that every event, good or bad, has made you the person you are today is important. Now is your chance to take charge of your story and write a story that is completely your own. Always keep in mind that the trip is yours alone, but you don't have to go it by yourself. Get help, whether it's from close friends and family, therapy, or just thinking about yourself. Believe that the best is yet to come, most of all. At age 40, life doesn't end, it really starts.